Welcome to another episode of No Budget Reviews, where we actually have a set! Yay! We're moving up in the world! On this week's episode, Star Wars is back! Again!
They say there's always magic in the air. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Give me those Star Wars any old day.
Ah, Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
This is very, very bad.
Ah, Star Wars, if they should find,
Now this is pod racing.
please let me Star Wars stay. And hey, how about that nutty Star Wars bar? Can you forget all the creatures in there? And hey, Darth Vader
Please
in
don't
that
look at me
black
like
and
that.
evil mask. Did he scare you as much as he scared me? Those near in Star Wars, my seventh winner up here, Star Wars!
Don't do that again.
This movie, this first of their spin-off films, was perfectly fine. It was adequate, it accomplished what it set out to do. I thought it was an interesting and unique take on Star Wars. It was a little grittier, its focus was more on real people, not magical space wizards, and the tone reflected that. Like all the Star Wars movies up to this point, the good guys and the bad guys are clearly defined. They're all black and white. And this movie, which was made to be a war movie, you had a little more of a gray area, morality-wise, between the rebels and the Empire. Like there were clearly some shady characters in the rebels.
Why does she get a blaster and I don't?
What?
I know how to use it.
That's what I'm afraid of. Give it to me.
We're going to Jeddah. That's a war zone.
That's not the point of... Where'd you get it?
I found it.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Trust goes both ways.
I'm gonna say right off the bat, The Force Awakens, their last film, much, much, much better than this film. But the people who complain that it was just a rehash of the original film are correct. It was.
A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil.
He was training a new generation of Jedi. One boy, an apprentice, turned against him and destroyed it all.
They're ignoring all the quality aspects of that film and some of the fresh new characters and fresh new ideas that are in there. But I think the people who had issue with that will enjoy this one a little bit more. I do want to just point out that I had a couple of major problems. Those are in spoiler territory, and we'll get to that later. So, Steve, what did you think of Rouge One, A Star Wars Thing?
I thought it was good. I really liked it. You know, I've kind of sort of going over in my head which I liked more, Rogue One or Force Awakens, and for me, it's close, but I still say Force Awakens. And I know people who vehemently disagree with that. I know you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, Kyle, I know you're watching this.
Fuck you!
I thought it was good. It was very dark, very gritty. I was surprised how dark it got. Like, I remember there's the scene towards the beginning of the movie, without giving anything away, where one of the main characters does something extremely morally questionable. Basically, Rogue One takes place during, I'd say, their darkest hour. The Empire's at its full strength, and the rebellion is kind of faltering at this point. You got splinter groups that are doing really kind of messed up stuff in the background, which is what Forrest Whitaker's character represents. Speaking of Forrest Whitaker, this is the second movie in the past month that he's been in where he kind of is out of place.
I loved him in this movie, and I'll get more. I loved him in this movie for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
I thought it sucked, frankly. I thought basically by the end, I wasted my money for nothing. I thought that if I hadn't seen it, nothing would have changed. I will concede that I went in with different expectations. I didn't realize it was going to be a one-off. Had I known that, the ending probably would have been a lot more predictable for me, which I think some people really enjoyed. It was like, oh shit! It missed out on all the amazing aerial sequences that were in The Force Awakens.
That's one hell of a pilot!
He kept the spaceships, what the fuck are they called?
X-Wings.
Thank you. Clearly I'm with the fanboys. And I noticed that what he did really well in Force Awakens was he kept them either right below gigantic spaceships or right above them. But he was very close, always, to the surface of something. He also knew when to go wide and really give it the depth that I think that Star Wars misses out on. Yeah, I don't want to give everything away. But there were moments where
you realize the movie's a year old.
I think
Yeah,
everyone's seen that movie by now. You don't have to worry about spoilers in The Force Awakens.
I was very impressed by Force Awakens.
Spoiler, Han Solo dies.
And it really set the benchmark, and I went in with that expectation. I was very, very disappointed they didn't have fucking lightsabers in this.
That was one of the best things about it.
That sucked. It was a Star Wars film without Star Wars.
Well, that's the point. Was it was showing like the normal people, not the magical space wizards with their fancy glow sticks.
It seems that as a 13-year-old, George Michael had been heavily influenced by the Star Wars films and had endeavored to recreate his favorite moments.
I spent $2.1 million of good company money and end up with this?
Worth every penny.
It was almost like they were in the fucking writer's room, and they're like, wait a second, we haven't used one scene with the lightsabers. Let's write this scene with Darth Vader towards the end.
Oh, God.
Which was just fucking appalling, dude. It was like cartoon bullshit.
Yeah.
The fucking door was like this open. I will say, one of the things I thought that was very detrimental to this movie was you really didn't see the villain, although, you know, you could argue that Ben Mendelsohn, he was the bad guy.
He was the bad guy.
Yeah, he pretty much was.
I really thought they were marketing like, oh man, this is back when Darth Vader was still alive. So I was expecting more of Darth Vader, and he showed up for a slightly longer cameo than Daniel Craig in Force Awakens.
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
But I didn't feel there was like an overarching conflict that saw the film through. I thought it was, okay, my dad is dead. Oh wait, he isn't. Let's find him. Oh fuck, he dies halfway through the movie. And I'm sitting like, what the fuck is going on? I thought that was the whole point of the movie. And then he dies, and I'm like, where do we go from here? This sucks. This fucking sucks.
Well, the whole point was, the baseline was they're trying to get the plans to the Death Star. They say it in the trailers, they say it in the log line for the movie, the synopsis. But I will agree, it did seem a bit disjointed at times, and I think that was a direct result of the reshoots that everyone was talking about.
What did you guys think of the characters and the characterization?
I thought they were good.
I liked...
Were they in depth?
I liked certain characters. I thought certain characters had a lot of attention put towards them, and certain characters were just kind of there.
They did a lot for Felicity Jones's character Jenner, so they did a good amount for Cassian Andor, the Han Solo type who is...
I thought the robot was the best character in the movie.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was.
Where are you taking these prisoners?
He's taking us to quiet.
And there's a fresh one if you mouth off again.
He was.
As soon as he died, I'm like, holy shit, the one character they gave some characterization to, and he died, and I felt bad. Everyone else was like, oh, fuck it.
What I liked about the droid was he was once again a droid comic relief character, but in a completely different way than like a C-3PO bumbling idiot. It fit, like he was more sarcastic and kind of a jerk, which was... It
was refreshing.
But what it did was it fit the tone of the movie. Whereas C-3PO fits the main Star Wars movie's tone, this character really fit what they were going for. It's like they had a real conscious effort when they were writing the character of, we want this to be comic relief, but we don't want it to be out of touch with the rest of the movie. And I thought like that was one of the things that I thought they nailed the best in the film.
I did like the humor in the movie.
Yes,
you know,
it was not over the top like a Doctor Strange, like out of place.
Yes.
It was there when it needed to be.
But I would ask you guys this. What was Han Solo, what was his characterization in the very first?
Han Solo was Han Solo.
I think you just can't bear to let a gorgeous guy like me out of your sight.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Darkest of night with the moon shining.
Because I'm a scoundrel. There are no scoundrels in your life.
I happen to like nice men.
You're a nice man.
Very nice.
The dudes have envied him for so long. Oh, Superfly.
Break it down a little. What was his background? What did he do by the end?
He was a smuggler, and he was sort of a rascal kind of character.
A bit self-centered, egotistical.
Characterization.
Right.
Yes. Completely missing in this film.
On your own from the age of 15. Reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined. This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
So there are a couple of things that really
Chap your ass?
Yeah.
Let's hear it, Mike. I don't want to be the only one.
So the first thing is, we knew going in that the movie, for the most part, was going to be pointless. Like, we knew where it was going to end. And you could say the same thing about the prequels. You knew where they were going to end before the movies even were shot.
Yeah.
You knew how it was going to end up, so it's like, by the definition, it feels kind of pointless. But what drove it home was the way the movie ended.
Yeah.
Where essentially they just get nuked. Everyone, all the characters, everyone, it's just, they drop an A-bomb, the Death Star blows it up, and they drop an A-bomb, and everyone dies. And it's like, oh, well, and like...
Did you guys like that?
Well, here's the thing.
It made sense to me.
I appreciated the fact that this movie was a complete entity on its own, where you're not going to have these characters recurring.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that. But it was like, well, what's the point? It's like, oh, they did their thing, they all died, we know that the rebels get the plans of the Death Star. We knew that in the original movie in 1977.
Yeah.
So it's like, ultimately, what's the point other than to just have another movie that says Star Wars that you can market to people and go out and buy lightsabers?
It's the new Star Wars lightsaber from Kenner. Inflation required, batteries not included. You can pretend you have powers when you switch on Kenner's Star Wars lightsaber.
Ready to feel the Force? Good night, everybody.
I think it serves the purpose of the original trilogy because you see the sacrifice the rebellion had to go through to get the Death Star plans to Princess Leia and ultimately Luke and the rest of the rebellion.
If the Empire has this kind of power, what chance do we have?
What chance do we have? The question is, what choice?
3 minutes till the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today.
In less than an hour, Aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind.
And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny.
Either we heal as a team, or we're gonna crumble.
But from annihilation, we're fighting for our right to live.
So we'll march day and night by the big cooling tower. They have the plant, but we have the power.
Seize the day. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may.
Oh, we're afraid to go with you, Pluto. We might get in trouble. Well, just kiss my ass from now on!
The leads are weak. The fucking leads are weak. You're weak.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it.
In my book, we're gonna be winners. Okay?
Rock, someday when the team's up against it, brakes are beating the boys. Ask them to go in there with all they've got. Win just one for the Kipper.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
I was disappointed there was no love story. Did you guys feel that way?
Well, I actually thought I disagree with that. I thought the love story at the end, which there was a bit of a love story thrown in there at the end. The reason why that felt so out of place was because that had something to do with the reshoots. I think they were like, oh, well, we need some kind of love story in here. I thought one of the things about The Force Awakens that I kind of wish was a little bit touched upon more was the love story.
Got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
None of your business, that's why.
And in this case, I thought it was better off if they had touched upon it less.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed that at the end at all.
No, it didn't feel like it existed.
No, because their dynamic was not like a romantic one throughout the entire movie.
And the guy was going to kill her father. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Hug me while the earth blows up.
It felt like a product of the reshoots and the rewrites, and they just threw it in at the end. Another aspect of this movie that drove me nuts is the constant callbacks were totally out of place. There was a few in Force Awakens, most of them fit. There's a couple like the chessboard and the little...
No problem!
This one, almost every callback was an eye roller.
Yeah.
Whether it was the
C-3PO.
bartender, C-3PO and R2-D2. Literally, that was, hey, it's C-3PO.
C-3PO and R2-D2 for 5 seconds.
Like,
It's
are they
there was
going to
no
be the
purpose to
Stan Lee cameo of every Star Wars movie? Is that
Oh,
what this is
probably,
supposed to be? It wasn't just like the little callbacks, it was also how they were integrated into the story. Darth Vader took me out of the movie.
Really?
He didn't need to be there, he was just there to be like, hey, it's Darth Vader. Not to mention...
I wanted him in there.
Well,
that was my thing.
Yeah, see,
I was really basing like, oh shit, I get Darth Vader again.
If it was
and to be
just-
honest, as soon as I heard his voice, I'm like, this looks dated.
Well, he sounds old too.
Yeah, as soon as he talked, I'm
sounds
like,
old.
and the suit, I think we talked about this
yeah.
before, the suit looked like
It looks like a
subpar.
Halloween costume.
I think they modeled it after the original Star Wars.
It looked cheap.
That's
It looked
that's the
cheap.
problem. They tried to model it after the old one, but the problem is the old one was filmed in 35mm. This is like HD now,
And he
so you
makes
can see it.
He makes a dumb pun about choking, like.
I
on it.
actually kind of like that Darth Vader made a dad joke.
It felt out of character. But no character gets it worse, and I have no idea what they were thinking with this. No character gets it worse than Peter Cushing. what were they thinking?
See,
which one was
this
that?
is a good
He
segue
was the
into that.
CG character.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what's interesting about it, because
I thought he was still alive. I'm
you
like,
didn't
holy
realize it was a
shit.
CG character, which
No.
I guess means they succeeded.
I thought they did a good job with it. I really did.
It was so distracting that every time he spoke, I couldn't concentrate on what he was saying,
See,
like
I
what the
didn't see
exposition
it
was,
at
what his
all.
lines were,
The fact
because
that-
it was just like, what are they thinking?
Well, they pushed in like
What
for
are
a
they
really
thinking?
long moment.
Like at first I thought it was just going to be a cameo with that one scene, and I thought that they went too far with it. It was just his reflection on like the window when how it started, and that was just him talking. I would have been like, oh, that's tastefully done and that works. And then he turns around and you see him full on, like full close-up shot, and it was like, oh no. But I thought it was just going to be that one scene, and I'm like,
That's
okay.
kinda what I
And I
thought
was
too,
like, that I can't believe they took it that far, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then he shows up again.
Constantly.
And then he keeps showing up to the point where you realize that,
He's
he's a main character in this movie. And that was so misguided. Whose ever decision was to do that, like, don't. You wanted to talk about the opening crawl?
Yeah, like Star Wars is lightsabers. You know, it's Darth Vader or Kylo Ren. It's that text. It's the score. I didn't hear that John Williams score.
Well, it was scored by John Williams.
Yeah,
That's my problem. It's like, this is fucking Star Wars. Is John Williams not free?
No, he wasn't.
But wait.
You know why he's not free? Because he's scoring episode 8.
There you go.
But see, now I totally disagree with you on this point. Like, I think you couldn't have the crawl in this movie, and I like the fact that they diverted from the usual formula, because that's what I want from these spin-off films. I want them to go in different directions, and I want what they call the saga films, the main episodes. I want them to have their identity separate from these, and that's why I think the crawl could not be in there.
This one, compared to episode 7, is like, the tone is night and day.
Which is why when Darth Vader and Peter Cushing show up, it takes me out of the movie. Because that's, to me, it clashes with what they were trying to do.
I don't agree entirely, but I do understand that.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that everyone and their brother and their sister and their mother and their father is going to go see this movie because it's a Star Wars movie.
It already made $70 million.
You and I would say go see it. You obviously would not.
No,
So
I would say wait for a rental.
what I really want to talk about is a concern that I have. And I've had this concern pretty much since they've announced that they were going to do these. My concern is that they are going to oversaturate this property way too fast.
Yep.
Now,
agreed.
They could have still done these spin-off films, but wait until episode 9 is out, just so that we have a breather. Because by the time we get to episode 9, I'm afraid people are going to be so sick of Star Wars. The movies could be good, and people will still be sick of Star Wars. So do you guys have the same concern?
I do, mainly because as of right now, there are, I think, 2 TV shows. I think one's in development, one is actively airing.
I know one.
There are like 1 million comic books, there are 1 million video games in development. We have episode 8, a Han Solo spinoff, episode 9.
The Rogue One really put a bad taste in my mouth.
I would be correct in saying that you avoid bad movies, right? Like you don't. You
I
try
don't like bad movies at all.
See, now here's the thing. I like bad movies occasionally.
Like The Room or...
Well...
How was work today? Oh, pretty good. We got a new client at the bank. We'll make a lot of money. What client? I cannot tell you. It's confidential. Oh, come on. Why not? No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life?
It takes a specific kind of bad movie. Like, if you look at something like the Asylum films, like the Sharknado, like that garbage, that's stuff that's trying to be bad.
And succeeds.
Yeah, well, it's bad in a bad way. It's not bad in an entertaining way.
Let's go kill some sharks!
It's happening again.
You really think there's gonna be one of those shark storms here?
Yes! I'm not crazy. People have to know the truth before it...
One of the things that I think you get out of watching bad movies is that you appreciate good movies, or you appreciate movies that at least have qualities in them. And to me, there's no way I could call this movie bad.
I wouldn't say bad, disappointing.
Yes, to me those are two different things. Saying something is disappointing and saying something is bad can be completely separate from each other.
Right.
It depends on what your expectations were. And to me, this is a perfectly competent movie.
It was okay. It was an okay movie that didn't, it was an okay action film, but it really brought nothing to me, for me, to the Star Wars universe.
And
yeah,
I would think
this guy.
Want to say that again?
Yes, I do.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Give me the Star Wars. Star Wars. If they should bar wars, please let these Star Wars stay. And hey, how about that nutty Star Wars bar?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, contrary to what you've just seen, war is neither glamorous nor fun. There are no winners, only losers. There are no good wars, with the following exceptions: the American Revolution, World War II, and the Star Wars trilogy.
Chewie! We're supposed to be halfway to Naboo for a sweet party right now. This hyperdrive keeps malfunctioning, taking us to loser systems like this.
Captain Solo, we must go. You know how perturbed I get if we are not punctual.
Droid's right. Let's roll.
But Yoga, what is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Merchandising? What's that? Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Open up this door. Come, walk this way. Take a look. We put the picture's name on everything. Merchandising, merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
Up here, Star Wars!
And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.